And good evening. Tom Gibson with Chuck Augustin. We're here in Nye County, and we're here to discuss the latest and most important issues happening in Nye County and in the Pahrump Township. Chuck?
And around the world. Hello, everyone. Let me start it off with a local issue. Now, this isn't revenge, but a little bit. And it's got to be happening to a lot of people who used to have Dr. Van Wagner or Dr. Craig. These are physicians that worked for Mountain Valley Physicians Group. And what's happened to me is I had a blood test that Dr. Van Wagner had ordered, a lipid panel. And, you know, I'm thinking, no problem, I got a bad heart. Of course, anybody would want to check out, you know, your cholesterol. So anyway, lo and behold, I get a letter shortly after the blood test that she was leaving. And now about 8 weeks ago, I get a bill from Quest saying Medicare has denied payment because there was not justification by the physician for the test. Well, I start this nightmare I've been on up till today, and it hasn't been solved yet, of calling Mountain Valley Physicians Group, calling Quest, calling Social Security, and that's a real treat. You're on hold for 30 minutes, and then you get someone that you can't even understand. I mean, it's unbelievable. But anyway, the bottom line is I'm going to get stuck with a $150 bill because they won't send the justification, which is clearly in my record, from Mountain Valley Physicians Group to Quest, who would then resubmit the bill to Social Security, and I wouldn't pay anything. But I can't get Eva over at Mountain Valley Physicians Group to even call me or talk to me. And like I say, Dr. Craig's left since then. I'm sure his patients are going to be stuck with this. And it's a real nightmare.
Sometimes all it requires is a letter from an attorney threatening a lawsuit, and even though you're not going to do it, just the threat or appearance that could happen can get people's attention. Because I mean, there's only one thing worse than being sued, and that's maybe like an angry proctologist exam.
Well, I also, one of the things, I mentioned this on Dr. Reiner's show last night, and he said, get a hold of Nevada State Board of Medical Examiners and complain. And lo and behold, it was real easy to do on the internet, and I'm about to send a package. So anyway, for people that used to go to Mountain Valley Physicians Group, I don't know why they're getting rid of all their doctors. It seems like, you know, doctors is an integral part of a medical facility, but they seem to be getting rid of them. And like I say, you're going to get stuck with all kinds of billing nightmares.
Well, it could be that they were behind the curve and they thought that perhaps that Hillary was going to win, and they were banking on a bunch of them coming up from different parts of the world and working for half price.
Yeah, but really, you're on your own, and hopefully we'll do a show in the future. I've got stories to tell about my medical experiences, believe me. Next thing we were going to talk about...
But we forgot to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, because by the time our next show rolls around, we'll have already passed Christmas and we'll be into the new year. So Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a Happy New Year. Be safe and enjoy your family, and do whatever you can to make life good for yourself.
Speaking of Hillary, who won the election?
Oh, it was confirmed with the Electoral College yesterday, and another resounding victory for Trump. And I know a lot of people don't like Trump, but I think a lot more people hate Hillary than dislike Trump.
Yeah, and the Electoral College, again, on the conspiracy lines and even on mainstream, they were talking about a rebellion, and the electoral people would turn against Trump because he's such a monster. Of course, Hillary's a real angel. But anyway, that certainly didn't happen. In fact, Hillary lost 4 votes and Trump lost 2 in the electoral vote. So she lost more than he did.
You know, and whether he was going to keep his word or not, Trump was backing off on prosecuting Hillary or having her prosecuted, and then, but it's just like any other animal, a wild animal in a cage. You poke that animal over and over again. What does she expect's going to happen? So now and this is like the fifth or sixth poking event since the election, and I think that she deserves a good life prison sentence. But what am I?
Well, the thing is, Trump isn't going to prosecute; his AG will. Attorney
exactly.
General, yeah. So, and by the way, on his nominees for his cabinet positions, I am thrilled that he's not nominating the typical regurgitated politicians and bankers and all the rest. He's got business people. In fact, yesterday, the Secretary of the Army nominee is a hedge fund manager from Florida, who owns a professional soccer team or hockey team. And he was in the Army, but he's not one of these typical generals that, you know, became a politician, and that's how they got to general or admiral.
I had a friend that was in the, he was in the Army Air Corps way back when. I mean, a friend, an older gentleman who I knew. And he told me in my younger years, they said, I never trust anybody that's over lieutenant colonel. Exactly. because in order to get the full bird or higher, he goes, you have to be a politician, and those people will backstab. And I mean, but I know there are, general grade and full bird colonel who aren't sleazeballs, but it's like politics in general. It's just that you got to hold your nose, and there's some good people in politics, but there's a whole lot of people, the majority of them aren't, because my personal opinion is anybody who says they want to be my boss or want my supervisor or my leader is not welcome.
Right. And now, having said positive things about Trump's nominee, the thing that worries me is there's a whole lot of them that are ex-Goldman Sachs, who is the Dracula of the financial world. And there again, we don't know what's going to happen. Certainly there's going to be drastic things in the economics and the financial world.
Now, here's the optimistic part of me, though. Joseph Kennedy, John Kennedy's father, he was appointed to God, what was it? The
ambassador.
But before that, he was like secretary of the Treasury, or it was something to that effect. It was, but he was put in charge of changing all the laws and the rules, or changing the policies that made him a multimillionaire in Wall Street. He closed all the loopholes, and he did that because people were taking advantage of Wall Street, and that's why.
Absolutely.
And he actually ended up being a very effective leader doing that. And even though he got there by doing all the wrong things, he was able to. He redeemed himself by fixing the situation the best he could under the situation. But and I'm thinking that hopefully maybe the Trump's appointees will do the same thing, because once they've made their millions, they don't have to play that game anymore, and they can actually, now they can say, you know what, I don't need you folks, and this is a retirement job for them, and they can, like say, redeem their souls and their spirits by doing some good.
Right. Gary, we got you on the line. What's going on?
Yes, sir. A second-time caller to you. I want to talk about
you cut out on us, Gary. Can you hear us?
Number one.
Damn Area 51.
Number one, you can't even get an X-ray done there. That's for number one. Number two, what they're building on the civilian end of it, that very big clinic that's going to be open so many hours, I think it's 16 hours that they're going to be open to a certain degree. That's what kind of clinic the VA should have. And also, at the clinic, you can even get stitches done there. So what it amounts to, it's a little bit of waste of money, and I don't know what else to say, but I think it's waste of money.
Gary, you cut out at the beginning. Are you talking about Mountain Valley Physicians Group?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know. It's amazing I don't know what they're doing over there. Did you have doctor? Are you over there? Do you have a doctor over there?
No, I deal with the VA only. I only make so much money a year. That's why I go to the VA altogether. Going to the civilian hospital, right?
Right.
Which I don't have that much insurance. All I have is A and B. So when all this stuff and medical bills come up, right, I'm a hurting boy.
Absolutely.
Now, there's plenty of us out there as veterans that cannot afford insurances. Now, this is where I get disgusted of this new clinic. Okay, I'll hear your comments and hang up, sir. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, to me, the veterans get screwed daily. While we see all these baloney about, our heroes and, God bless our troops, they're stabbing us in the back the whole time. And it drives me crazy because I can't stand it. I turn off the TV, actually, when they have this ceremonial crap about let's support our fighting men and all that. And the VA system sucks. Hopefully Trump and the people he appoints will really clean up the swamp.
Right. And the problem is the VA for decades has been run by political hacks.
Absolutely.
And political hacks get there because they know people, and it's cronyism. It has nothing to do with your qualifications. And again, that's the nice thing about Trump. His people, at least, say what you want to about their past, they're highly qualified in business and they understand how things work, instead of like the people, like especially the Democrats been put in there, like people like, I don't know if Obama has ever even balanced a checkbook before in his life. I mean, you'd probably put it in front of him and he'd probably be stumped.
Yeah, and I really do. I think the health care is such a critical thing to totally overhaul it and get rid of all these medications that are causing side effects that screw you up way worse than what they cure.
Okay, we're on a break now.
Yeah, we're going to be going to break in a minute. 30 seconds, so we got to blab on for a couple. How was your day?
Hey, did you hear the one about the...
Okay, we're going to go to break now. See you on the flip-flop.